Welcome to the Tackle Trade World podcast. I'm John Hunter. Foundation Outdoor Group has acquired Mudhole Custom Tackle and American Tackle, turning it into the largest supplier of fishing rod components, supplies, equipment, and rod building instruction. Today, I'm joined by President and COO of Foundation Outdoor Group, Brook Oliva.
So, Brook Oliver, hi, welcome. Thank you for spending some time with Tackle Trade World. Um, let's start with finding out a little bit about Foundation Outdoor Group because this has been a big few months for you, I guess. But tell me a little bit about Foundation Outdoor Group to start off.
Yeah, well, so obviously the post-COVID environment and retail fishing, all of that, it's completely changed the dynamic. So when Tom, myself, and some of the other shareholder stakeholders involved in the decision-making process sat down on really, what we wanted to do to be able to both provide the best value to those as part of the business and also our customers, what that was going to take and what that looked like into the future. And we decided we really wanted a runway to be able to build on the dynamics and, the customer base, the product lines, everything that the businesses involved have done so well over the past. And ultimately, how it came to us, we were talking about, basically what we did, how we did it, the products that we dealt with. And we deemed that, we were the foundation, right? Whether you're building a custom rod, whether you're designing a product line, a lure line, whatever, the services, the products, the lifestyle that we provide as a business is the foundation from which we, build on. And that was the eureka moment that we were like, hey, that sounds like a pretty cool name. Let's run with that. So, obviously the parties involved, the two major players that you'll see as part of this acquisition being Mudhole and American Tackle. Mm-hmm. Both within their respective spheres, have really done amazing things, both, just on the rod building side, the custom rod building side, and then just general component development, et cetera, across the board. So when we were talking about, making the move and actually taking those two separate entities and folding them into, what we wanted to produce with this new enterprise, the synergy, I mean, it just made too much sense. And going back to that value-based proposition, it provided exactly what we were looking for: ways to optimize efficiency, ways to pool resources. And just out the gate, what we get by taking, the brands that are joining into the fold, American Tackle, MHX, CRB, it produces the single largest, most comprehensive selection of rod building components, tools, equipment, supplies, et cetera, under a single service that, will be able to build on and help service the broader market as a whole.
So I guess that means there's a natural synergy and every brand kind of complements each other in terms of
absolutely.
In terms of what they offer. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That was, really one of the primary drivers behind, doing this. Like, again, both, Mudhole and American Tackle, respectively, that had great success in the market and, continued and, were able to build on the success that we saw over the last few years. And it just came down to, if we're doing these amazing things independently together by pooling those resources, we really felt that it would allow us to shift into, that next phase of development to continue to build upon that success, and, doing it more efficient and, ultimately, again, just driving that value for both, the rod building community that Mudhole continues to, service, and then the mid-tier OEM and large-scale OEM builders and whatnot that American Tackle has serviced over the years.
Brilliant. And I guess, the timing of the announcement couldn't have been better, coming on the back of American Tackle's amazing success at ICAST. That must have been a dream come true, huh?
Yeah, that was amazing. Those guys worked really, really hard. They made a really cool product. And, that's exactly the type of stuff that, makes this, so much more exciting for us, as this new venture, and being able to build on that team. They're an amazing group of guys over there. I really think they're one of the best development and sales teams in the industry. They're dedicated, they're passionate, and that's one of the cool things about the same deal with the team, coexisting over at Mudhole. Like, I tell people all the time, like, it's not IBM, right? We're not selling software. This is fishing. Like, you have to care. There's a lot of passion behind what we do, how we do it. And, it's because, we build rods, we use rods, it's fishermen and women working together to where we're not only building as a hobby, we're building businesses together, and it's that cohesiveness just it makes for a very natural fit. So when it's easy, it's a lot of fun.
No, I couldn't agree more. So does that mean that amongst these synergies as well, you mentioned obviously that the Mudhole serves a very clear market, and obviously American Tackle deals with probably a lot more of the OEM side. Are we going to see a bit more cross fertilization between that? Are we going to be using? Are you going to be looking at the different technologies that the guys use and seeing what else each of them can learn from each other?
Yeah, I think I look at it kind of like a yin and yang thing to where, from a grassroots standpoint, it's like that custom builder market, obviously the reach that Mudhole operates in. So we'll be able to pair in, development and whatnot that's for the broader OEM market, and also funnel that directly into, faster into the custom rod building market, and developing that community, and vice versa. Honestly, a lot of innovation comes out of these individual guys. I mean, some of our customers, like on the Mudhole side, are some of the most creative people. They're smart guys, they're engineers, and they drive a lot of ingenuity. That in turn, we're able to fold into, and I think we'll be able to leverage, and augment the development into the broader OEM market as well. So, that yin and yang relationship makes a lot of sense, and from a business perspective, Mudhole, under the new entity will operate, as a division that is directly towards retail sales, right? Its focus will remain just exclusively on what it does best, that being, the education and, development of custom rod building as a craft, as a hobby, building that customer base, and obviously, as an outlet for the brands that, we develop. And, the Foundation Outdoor Group sales, development, design division will operate independent of Mudhole, perpetuating, the American Tackle brand, MHX, CRB. And then also I'm sure we'll chat again here in the near future with some of the other things that we're working on that we're going
to. That sounds intriguing. That really does. I mean, one of the things that struck me at ICAST this year was seeing the lady custom rod builders sitting there on the American Tackle stand. But of course, as I was talking to them, they were name checking Anglers Resource, they were name checking Mudhole, and clearly this community makes the most of all of those different spheres of the custom rod building community to make sure the best products in each niche that they've got.
Exactly. Like, I think within such a niche market that we operate in terms of the custom rod building thing, community's huge, right? It's not massive. Like, it's growing, and we've taken great strides in our part in developing that. But a community is a great way to put it, and especially the lady rod builders, fisher women, in general, like, it's something they're doing incredible stuff. I mean, the detail, the level of work, and that's something that I want to take and run with. Honestly, like, I think that the women of rod building, the women in the fishing community, like, it's something that it needs more attention put on it, because the quality of what they're doing, how they're doing it, I mean, they are of doing absolutely incredible stuff. So like it was really cool to see, obviously them finally get some of that spotlight, and the attention that they truly deserve. So that's obviously something that we'll continue to build on.
No, that's brilliant. And the other thing I noticed at ICAST that was quite telling was the involvement that they had from some very, very young people as well. And again, that's something that listen. At the end of the day, we have a market that is aging, and we need to bring new people in. And again, more power to you guys, because it seems as though teaming up with these custom rod building guys, what we're doing is we're teaching the future rod builders what it's all about, and I guess you guys are playing your part in that as well.
Yeah, and that's that actually is, I'm glad you picked up on that, because that's a major point that we try to to hammer home, is that rod building is a craft. It's multi-generational. We're not just trying to reach that older generation and whatnot. Like I've seen a shift over the years. Like I've been doing this a reasonable amount of time. Actually, funny enough, 20 years in June.
Wow.
Just had a milestone anniversary with all the stuff going on. But anyway, what I've seen is that evolution, from the older generation, especially in rod building, and I think fishing as a whole, where trying to get that younger crowd and that next generation of be it rod builders and fishermen and women is incredibly important. And I think embracing what I've kind of fashioned, and I won't take credit as the inventor of this phrase, but the maker movement, right? To where this younger crowd, like you see things like Etsy and these other sites, to where the younger generation seem to prefer shopping small, right? And not just shopping small, but also like getting their hands dirty. And it's funny, in an age to where you're talking about TikTok and Gen Z and all this other stuff.
Absolutely.
It's kind of contra to the prevailing theme that you talk about, the upcoming generations. But from what I've seen, just from market analysis, trend analysis, and whatnot, we've been able to push that average age lower and lower and lower. And some of that starts with other segments from Mudhole's side, like the education program. We're in over 800 schools within the U.S., to where we actually, Anthony Humans, who operates that on behalf of Mudhole, does a great job. He's produced curriculums, like we have special pricing points, kits, etc., that are putting product and the craft of rod building into the hands of high school students, year in and year out, all over the country. That, so it's getting them passionate about not just fishing, but taking it a step beyond and turning it into a craft. They develop a business plan, so we try to tie in a lot of other skills and whatnot that go beyond just obviously enjoying the outdoors. But at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? We want to be able to create a business, create products, create avenues for people, whether young or old, to get out and enjoy fishing. That's what it's all about. And so that's the end game. And we just provide a little bit more entertainment on the in-between, from when you're working in the shop to working out on the water.
It's refreshing to hear, particularly in these days where a lot of things are about instant gratification, and certainly in fishing, everybody wants to be able to pick up a combo and become an instant fisherman. So actually, to have people to encourage young people and older people who are just getting into the sport to actually look at the kit that they're using and actually make it or design it themselves, or have a significant input into what they're actually taking onto the bank, rather than just buying it over the counter or buying it online and getting straight out there fishing, is quite a refreshing thing to hear.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we want to be able, as Foundation Outdoor Group, to accommodate both. Basically, if you want to come in and build from the ground up and make it something that you're more passionate about, etc., that's where Mudhole comes into play. Obviously, from a distribution standpoint, my honest opinion is, I don't care how you're making it out onto the water. Obviously, instant gratification, yeah. For us that are diehards and have been doing it a long time and really are passionate about it, taking those extra steps. But basically, if we're getting people out on the water, we're doing it right, and that's how I feel about it. So that's where, again, this avenue allows us with Foundation Outdoor Group taking on, to be able to service both segments of the market, and really use that knowledge, the base that we built and whatnot, and build on it bigger, better than what we've been doing in the past. And, so obviously, again, very exciting.
No, that's brilliant. And just from an operational point of view, obviously, as a B2B magazine, one of the questions that we're bound to ask, what impact do these acquisitions and this agreement, what does that have impact wise in terms of Mudhole and American Tackle, in terms of their headquarters, their facilities, that type of thing?
Yeah, so we'll be consolidating into a single distribution center, still based here in Oviedo. Some of it comes down to rebranding, so it'll be the operational facility that Mudhole has existed out of solely, and that will be rebranded as post acquisition to the Foundation Outdoor Group headquarters. The facility, again, it'll be operated in divisions to where the segment facing the rod building community, et cetera, that is retail driven will still have access to the Mudhole showroom, the Mudhole service staff, everything from a customer perspective on the retail side. Ultimately, nothing changes other than, it's now being fulfilled out of Foundation Outdoor Group's fulfillment center. From the B2B side specifically, again, the changes are positive, right? So it's taking two different wholesale B2B programs, that being American Tackle, and then also the Mudhole, which we've had success in through the distribution of our affiliate brands, MHX, CRV Pro Products, etc. And it folds all into one, so you get a significantly larger offering of components, supplies, all under one singular source now. So by consolidating that, it ultimately, I think, will be a very positive experience. Plus we're adding in personnel, staff to facilitate the development on the OEM projects, things like that, 3D modeling, a significant investment in 3D printing technologies, that type of thing, to be able to service that design and development, because that's really, one of the cornerstones of what we do, is that those services, whether it's developing like the Suka 2 that American Tackle just did, or a product line for an OEM customer or something like that. So we'll be able to service both segments, retail and B2B, better. And it's investing in fulfillment practices. Like we've already, over the last few years, made multi-million-dollar investment into fulfillment and distribution, and we'll be able to leverage that to the full capacity that it's capable of. So that was ultimately the goal, is just streamlining those efficiency. It means, better service, better selection, and faster servicing times and delivery. So, it's hard to argue those points.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Now, obviously, this is a very new announcement. Presumably, a few people have gotten wind of this already. What's been the reaction in the market so far? Or is it still under, or as we speak, is it still under wraps?
Yeah, it's some of our highest profile, most important clientele, we wanted to obviously brief ahead of time. It's been positive. I think once those points are made, that hey, you'll be able to now have the largest selection of product in the marketplace under a single source, is obviously something that makes their lives easier as well, right? Like we want to help facilitate their growth as well as ours. So, in doing so, it simplifies their ordering process, gives them a broader selection. Obviously this allows the entities to start carrying deeper inventories to be able to service everybody better. So, I mean, for those that have become aware of, the upcoming changes, it's been a very positive reception.
As it should be, by the sound of it, as it should be. So you sort of, I mean, obviously you can't give anything away. I understand that, but you sort of hinted that there's a few more things in the offing. So I guess it's a question of from your point of view, moving this forward and making sure that everybody understands what's going on, and then I guess there's probably more to come by the sound of it.
Yeah, there is. We'll try to keep some of the lid on at least, but what it's working towards is, the goal of all of this is to service the customers that we have better, and that includes international customers.
Yeah.
So that being said, again, we'll have more things to talk about here soon, but some of that's already, been leaked here and there a little bit, but we are working currently on a distribution center in Europe to be able to supply the Foundation Outdoor Group brands directly into the continent, just eliminating a lot of the increased costs and difficulties that have been, added on post-COVID. It was always expensive to ship things transatlantic, et cetera, but it just, now we feel obviously, given the current changes, that the investment into helping service that market as well is something that we're very interested in doing. So yeah, we'll talk more about that at a later date.
I was just about to say, it sounds to me as though this isn't going to be our first interview. It sounds as though there's a few more, to come down the line.
We'll have a bit more to talk about in the coming months, because it comes down to obviously some of that news, and then, we're working on some other stuff as well. So, again, like going back to the onset of the conversation with what we decided, what we wanted to do, what we felt we were capable of doing within the industry, these changes, obviously it's heavy news, but it's exciting, and it provided the structure and the foundation for what we wanted to ultimately achieve, and our 5-year plan, our 10-year plan, et cetera. And we're off to a good start.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to hearing about the rest of the journey in due course.
Yeah. But, I'll keep you hanging. That way I get you on the hook for another interview.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you ever so much for that.